The subject for discussion today will be the ultimate truth. It's taken from a verse in the Mandukya Karika, chapter 2, verse 32, which says, Na nirodho na chotpatti, na baddho na sadhaka, na mamukshur na vai muktaha, ityesha paramartata. There is neither cessation nor creation. There is no bondage. There is no one striving for spirituality. There is no spiritual aspiration. There is no one who is free. This is the ultimate truth. It's just the textual meaning of this beautiful verse. We'll go into it, try to go into it as deeply as possible. It's a very deep meaning, and obviously it's not easy to grasp it like that. But essentially why I thought we should discuss this, because there was an incident in Swamiji's life. Once he went to Mayavati, I think that was his last trip. He was quite sick even then. Then he saw वहाँ भी घर घर सब ठाकुर का तस्वीर लगाए हैं, धूप जला रहे हैं. So he was very much annoyed, very shocked. फिर मैं सोचा कम से कम एक जगह जो अद्वैत साधना के लिए बचा के रखूँ, यहाँ भी वो बुरा आ गया. So he said, remove everything. So naturally everyone had to obey. But they had a feeling in their hearts that Shri Ram Krishna Dev तो हम लोग का इष्ट देव है, उसकी उपासना भी कैसे मना कर रहे हैं. So they wrote to the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother replied, नरेन तो टिकी कहा. Naren said it rightly, क्योंकि श्री राम कृष्ण देव तो अद्वैत थे. She did not even say that he was a follower of Advaita or was a believer in Advaita. She said Sri Ramakrishna was Advaita Murta Vigraha. Sri Ramakrishna Advaita the. That was exactly her expression. So, in a sense, we all come from that tradition as followers of Sri Ramakrishna, Mother and Swamiji. And this is considered the highest truth according to the Shastras, to know our ultimate reality, know who we are. So I thought at least let us try to understand this idea. Of course, we have to do it very carefully. It should not lead to any immature or undigested understanding of Advaita. So this is the ultimate truth according to Gaudapada. He says there is no one is even free in that sense. Normally, what is the idea of religion? Generally as it is prevalent and understood, that we are that supreme spirit, that is that ultimate Brahman or Atman or God, who is our real nature. And all these are all appearances in that reality. We also feel that we are under tremendous bondage. We are suffering. Each religion might give it its own explanation. Some religions might say it's all original sin. हम हिंदू शास्त्र के अनुसार ये सब कर्म फल है, all due to the bondages of karma, something, there will be some other explanation. So ultimately, largely we all feel that we are all in a terrible state of bondage or suffering, because the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism also talk about that. There is suffering, there is a reason for this suffering, there is a way out of this suffering, and the process is called the Eightfold Path or the Ashtanga Marg. So all religions, irrespective of their lineage, irrespective of their drift, trend in whichever direction they might go, so these are all commonly found in all religions. And then we say that because we are in a terrible state of bondage, we should do tremendous sadhana, there should be great spiritual aspiration, and through all that, finally we get that liberation or mukti or the ultimate freedom. But Gaudapada doesn't accept any of this. He says there is no creation, there is no cessation. He says nobody is in bondage. There is no one who is doing sadhana. There is no aspiration or no genuine seeker of the highest order. And nobody also is blessed finally with liberation or anything like that. Now, what sense he is saying this? So, this is very important. If you understand it with maturity and thoughtfulness, it will be of immense help. If you understand it in an immature way, then you will think that there is no need for any sadhana. There is no need for all that. I don't believe in anything else. So then I can kind of go as I like, nothing to be done. No spiritual pursuit or no spiritual effort is necessary. That kind of idea one might feel. But mature way is, we will clearly understand what is the real nature of this creation. What is really bondage? What is sadhana? What sadhana can do us? What it can give? What it cannot give? What is real spiritual aspiration? And ultimately, what is this freedom that is talked about? सब हम लोग धीरे धीरे समझ पाएंगे, क्योंकि ये सब एक बुद्धि के स्तर पे समझना जीवन में बहुत इसमें फायदा है हम लोग का. Even if you understand, because ultimately all sorrow, suffering, everything, all conflicts, all disharmony, everything can be dissolved or ultimately understood only from that point of view. Otherwise, it is never possible to understand the riddle of this creation the way it is, because all believers in God, all those who follow all those disciplines, again and again they come up with this question, why it is like this? ऐसा क्यों? मैं क्यों ऐसा? मेरा क्यों भोगना पड़ता है? मैं तो कुछ नहीं किया. I am such a honest person. Why should I suffer so much? Why in one tsunami lakhs of people die together? Is it God's dispensation? Why should we believe in such a God? So many of those things, those who are followers of various different schools, coming slightly lesser from that ultimate extraordinary idea, again and again we are beset with all these and many other questions. But so this idea, you will find that it is not cutting at the root of religion or anything. That is giving you a tremendous foundation from which all these conflicts will be completely resolved. Because if you really understand, there is no creation of this universe, then there is no sorrow, there is no suffering. Sorrow, suffering, everything, they all come from a limited understanding of ourselves. I am this, I come this family, I am this, I am doing this job, that family, that family. Any kind of limitations which we impose upon ourselves, ultimately that is what is leading to any sorrow or suffering or anything. So, if you go deeper and understand that we are not what we apparently assume ourselves to be. ऐसे हम लोग सोच रहे हैं मैं ये शरीर हूँ, ये मन हूँ, ये सीमित एक परिचय पहचान खुद का बना लिए हम लोग. Supposing you go beyond that and you grasp the idea, I am that infinite, boundless, immortal self, then where is suffering? Where is sorrow? किसका दुख है? किसका sorrow है? And all that can be understood at least at one level. Even an intellectual understanding would give you a tremendous sense of comfort, freedom, and you just like that brush away whatever might afflict you. जितनी भी बड़ी दुख हो, everything can be swept aside by that one deep understanding. So that's why they say all ethics, morality, they're all rooted in Advaita. Otherwise, why should I be moral at all? Why should I be ethical? Why not I loot from somebody else if I get an opportunity? Why not deprive someone else? Why not make that way? What harm is there? How do you justify? But only when you, as long as you recognize the difference between you and me, I am and something else, there's always, survival of the fittest. आप ऐसे ही ले सकते हैं, लूट सकते हैं, बना सकते हैं, करते भी लोग, ज़्यादा से लोग वही करते हैं. But if you understand deeply this concept, then it says there is no difference, no separateness, there is no division between you and me. Then how do I loot you? How do I take from you? How do I deprive you? How do I take advantage over you? Nothing is possible because आप क्या खुद के हाथ कभी काट सकते हैं? Can you cut your own hand? It's something like that. When you find that there is no difference between you and anyone else in the entire universe, then obviously all sense of differentiation, all sense of discrimination, all sense of duality, all sense of feeling that something different, all that would go away, and that would lead to a tremendous sense of calmness, peace, and there won't be the desire to win over, get hold of something at the expense of somebody, somehow go ahead. All those ideas would completely vanish. So even at the level of the intellect, although at the level of the practice, it's a tremendous exercise and one has to be extremely uncompromising and one has to practice for years and never ever compromise at any stage, which is very difficult. That can be thought of slowly, but at least a deep understanding would give a tremendous sense of calmness, freedom, and absolutely it would bring a lot of comfort that way. So this is basically this is a topic. So what do we really, how does Gaudapada basically approach this? He also accepts the idea of this complete oneness, one consciousness without any difference, but he makes us understand this idea using the concept of three avasthas, the avasthatraya they call it. All of us, the entire humanity is subject to three basic states of awareness or experiences. The waker and the waking world, what we see around, the dreamer and the dream at the state of the mind, because it's all in the mind only, and in the person, the deep sleep and that complete blankness or that in the causal state. He says by understanding these three states, ये तीनों आप ठीक समझ पाएं, then this ultimate truth will be revealed. What he says is this very moment, the moment you get it, you are instantaneously liberated. You don't have to wait for a second, and that is ultimate, and that's something permanent, never to desert you or go away from you. Because then you will understand that it is not something to be got, it is not something different, it is not something apart from you, you are that. That's what he's trying to say. So all these three states, he says, they appear, stay and disappear in another idea or concept called turiya, or the fourth, And he says, you are that. The Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Tino Avastha, they appear, stay and disappear in that apparent fourth, or what is called Turiya. But he says, there is only one and you are that, and in you this waking, in you this dream or the dream world, in you this causal state and the causal experience. So first, let us take the first idea where he says, na nirodha na chotpatti, neither creation nor cessation. How is that? The typical classical example, if you see all those who speak on these topics, all the traditional books, etc., largely they are the same ideas only explanations differ a little here and there depending upon the circumstance, wherever you are, you try to bring in. The classical example that is given is, supposing there is a potter who creates pot out of clay. Clay is taken, it is given shape and it is burnt, it is added water or this or that. Finally, a pot is made. But essentially, what is that pot? Is there anything apart from clay in that pot? In the sides it is clay, in the bottom, at the bottom it is clay, at the top it is clay, inside it is clay, outside it is clay. Everywhere there is nothing apart from that clay. Has anything apart from clay been really created? It is the same clay which we called a lump at one time. Now we call it a pot. We have given it a shape. And now in a lump of clay you cannot keep water or milk or curd or anything. In this pot you can do, there is Vyavahara. She is the same clay, through Nama Rupa Vyavahara has become a pot. It is given a name called a pot, it is given a shape called is a pot shape, and then Vyavahara, it is used for something or other. So essentially is nothing but the clay. Supposing I say, all right, you keep your pot, give me back my clay. Would anything remain? Nothing. Absolutely, there is nothing apart from that clay. It is only the clay that is being now called by a different name because it has got a shape and it has got also Vyavahara. So in the same way, Gaudapada says, there is only that one consciousness, you, that is that Turiya. In that Turiya, that basic, that existence, Sat, in that this world appears, the world exists and the world disappears. There is nothing apart from that Sat or the basic existence or which is of the nature of Turiya or the infinite consciousness. You see, this will be very, very obvious if we go little deeper, because in the state of waking, you find everything around us is so real and you are able to touch it and feel and all that. But essentially, now so many of us are sitting in this auditorium. Say supposing all of us have come into it for the first time or even for the 10th time or 100th time. Now all of us are asked to think what you saw in that auditorium, and you are given a paper and you are asked to write. Every person will write something little different this way or that way. No two descriptions will be exactly the same. See, if there is an intrinsic reality in this auditorium, then that should find the same expression everywhere. So, the whole thing is a projection out of this consciousness. But unlike clay, it doesn't come out as separate. It just arises. There is no production of a material called world. It arises, it stays, and it goes back into that consciousness. Because quite often you see Sometimes, you are just sitting there, you are deeply absorbed. Something very important, something very drastic, something that has completely shaken you. You are just sitting, but you are not there. Somebody is in front of you. Just for 10 minutes that person is standing. And few times you don't even respond. Then he asks little loudly, "Arey, kya hua? Kya hua? Oh, arey, when did you come? When did you come? Arey, मैं तो 10 minutes खड़ा हूँ." So what is that? So in all our perception, all that we experience, if only that consciousness is withdrawn, nothing. What happens when you go to deep sleep? You may be having crores in the balance, bank. You might have sold jewelry or a property or a house or a car or anything, all is there. You go to sleep, all gone. When you wake up, it all appears. So if this world were to be completely true, if this existence is an independent reality of its own, it should be there irrespective of whatever you do. So it completely hinges on your awareness, your recognition. It only floats in your consciousness, your awareness, otherwise the world is not there at all. So it is all this experience is completely linked to the witness or the turiya or the consciousness, and but for which the world would not be there at all. So this is with reference to the Jagrat or the waking world. So it is more clearly perceived in the dream state, the dreamer and the dream world. So many things, what all we see in dream, innumerable, so attractive, so alluring, sometimes very drastic, terrifying. People shiver for a few seconds when they get up. Unconsciously they sweat and this and that. But when you get up, one swipe, everything goes. Oh, it was only a dream. So, what happened? All that were projections in the mind through this consciousness. Otherwise, every day, every person, innumerable dreams. So we know in the case of dream, it's very easy for us to understand the absolute unreal nature of the dream. Because the wiping away or going away is so powerful and so clear. So no one need come and tell you that, oh, your dream was not real. You know for certain. Sometimes there are even dreams within dreams. So if you understand a little, it can be very, very different. That's why Sri Ramakrishna has that famous story of जो खेती करने वाला, the farmer. तो उनका एकमात्र बेटा वो गुजर गया था. पत्नी बहुत रो रही हैं, खबर भेजा. वो घर आए, आके देखा, चुप बैठ गया. अरे तुम क्या पत्थर हो? रोना भी नहीं आता है तुमको? एकमात्र लड़का चला गया. Then he said, नहीं, मैं सोच रहा था काल स्वप्न में मेरा अनुभव हुआ, मैं एक बड़ा देश का राजा हूँ, मेरा 7 राजकुमार है, उनके साथ मैं बहुत मस्ती कर रहा हूँ, आनंद कर रहा हूँ, राज्य चला रहा हूँ. अचानक नींद टूट गया, बस सब गुजर गए. मैं अभी सोच रहा हूँ वो 7 राजकुमार के लिए रोना है ना, मेरा ये एक लड़का के लिए रोना है. He was a great ज्ञानी, no doubt. So, in the case of dream, we clearly understand that this is an experience which is nothing. But then, in the waking state, it takes more habit, more practice, more blows probably, then to understand. Really, no. If you know, it's all, because you see, why these are all not real, assumed, they are only a very temporary nature, passing nature. Otherwise, what all we go through, we should die and take birth every first year, second year, third year, because so many things keep happening. Someone dearer than the dearest dies. Then everybody, oh, acha, wo to abhi ye bhi chala jayega. Itna dukh. 1 or 2 months, 3 months, slowly back to the old life, old routine, then again everything. बीच में याद आ जाते, लेकिन everything goes on. So it's very clear, all these are all of a very temporary nature only. Whatever we might say, if you penetrate deeper, everything is appearing and disappearing in that one entity called consciousness. Otherwise, it has no intrinsic reality or stability of its own. It's much more in a causal state or deep sleep. नींद में गया तो कुछ भी पता नहीं है. When you wake up, मैं कुछ नहीं जानता था, मैं आनंद में रहा. A deep sense of, after that, usually there's experience of anyone who gets a good sleep and wake up. Very अच्छा नींद हुआ. I was in bliss, was so happy. I did not know anything, no awareness of anything. So the world, the creation, if you understand it in the light of these three avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and slowly one gets the real understanding, they are all only projections, and then there is nothing else apart from that. If this witness, this Turiya, if it is not there, nothing. All these appear, stay and disappear in this one Turiya or consciousness, and that is you. Apart from you are the witness. You are witnessing this world, the Jagrat world, the dream world, and the causal world. So there is nothing apart from this. So, but what we do is mix up this identity. We think we are that, and that's why we suffer endlessly. And then it can also be understood, there is another idea of this also. Supposing there is, another again this classical example of the snake and the rope. There is something, semi-darkness or so. Then you imagine there is a snake, or there is something else, a wire or whatever it is. And then finally, when there is light or when there is that, when awareness, then you realize there was no snake as such. It was just projected on that rope, and the moment that ignorance, that ajnana is gone, is removed, then, so was any snake really, did it come out of the egg and it was moving over that rope, and then afterwards and the knowledge was given that snake was killed and it was buried and burnt and all that, and then the rope remained? No. The moment that awareness came, instantaneously what was projected onto the rope was completely gone. So in the same way, this world also, there is nothing is made like as it is made from clay, pot and all that. Simply there is a projection in this awareness. Then it stays and then it disappears in various ways. So these are so if one clearly understand, all these are all in this one reality called Turiya, they appear and disappear constantly and continuously in various ways. So, but then now we constantly think that we are this limited body, this individual and mind, and all this leading to any amount of troubles, trials and tribulations, suffering and so on. So that's why he says, so if there is no creation, there is no cessation also. All that are only appearances, and there is only that one Turiya or consciousness. And then he says, na baddho, no one is in bondage. But we know we are all in terrible bondage. There is body, there is suffering, there is pain, there is disease, then there is dukkha, there is deprivation, there is sorrow, something is gone, somebody has died, somebody gave birth, and then this was lost, that was not lost, then any number of diseases, illnesses, going to doctor, we know we are terribly bound by this body and etc., etc. How does he say that there is no bondage? There is no bondage whatsoever. Why? And then all these various religions also give so many kinds of explanations for all that. So if you again unless you understand it in the right way, it goes on and all that. So why does if you go back also a little, the idea of this matter and consciousness, why we take all this world etc. to be real and all that, because of a complete mixture of this matter and consciousness. They seem to, we completely mix them up both, and thereby we think that they are real and they have to be given due consideration, we have to enjoy, we have to suffer and so on and so forth. But then this, he says, if you understand this, the idea, there are several ideas regarding this matter and consciousness. The most prevalent or accepted idea is that idea of the materialists, who always think that everything comes out of evolve. There is a slow evolution, then there is this physical matter, earth, so on, from that nerves, systems, etc., body, brain, and from brain somehow this consciousness appears. They also, beyond that, they are not able to go. I think everywhere in the world they are now discussing the hard problem of consciousness. They say if you search internet, you will any number of places. What is the idea? Because how this solid matter, how from that this extremely subtle thing called consciousness, how does it emerge? They are not able to say with any certainty or finality, but they all, because they for them the world is so real, the matter is so real, they are not prepared to go beyond that. They say no, it's all matter, but somehow it comes. They are not able to give any explanation, but that's where they stand. But most of the other dualistic religions, what we normally understand, they take the completely diametrically opposite view. Everything is emerging from consciousness. It's God who creates, the world is real, it is all created, everything is real, and all that they emerge from consciousness. They accept God who is all powerful, who is full of all that, and He is the creator and He is the preserver and the destroyer, and according to all the beliefs, one can say it's all done by Allah, it's all the Father in heaven, or in Hinduism we have divided the duties. Vishnu is given the duty of creation, and then Brahma and Vishnu is given the duty of preservation or taking care of us, and then Shiva comes and destroys everything. So depending upon all those beliefs, there are these kinds of divisions. And there is yet another idea where the consciousness and matter, they are kind of parallel. That is more the Sankhya philosophy, where it accepts the Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is consciousness, but it is Nishkriya, doesn't participate, but then it interacts, witness, and then Prakriti is by nature, it is the Jada, but all that happens is Prakriti, but they go parallel. They accept the existence of both matter and consciousness. That's one idea of consciousness. Then if you go to Buddhism, they say both consciousness and matter, they are all ultimately Sunya or nothing. There is no basic substance, both are equally unreal, there is both they classify as Sunya, etc. And then if you go to, there are other schools like Kashmiri Saivism and so on and so forth. But then in Advaita also there are kind of two views. One is everything is this consciousness, and then in this consciousness they also, that view also does not give complete credence to the world and all that. They say they all appear But then again in that several schools, they seem to be a little more conciliatory and they seem to give little more concession. They posit two truths, the Vyavaharik and the Paramarthika Satya. Ultimate or Paramarthika Satya is Sattva is that ultimate reality or consciousness, the Brahman or something. Vyavaharik Sattva, Satya is all this existential world and so on. And they make, again there are fine distinctions. Some say that it is not like the horns of a hare or flowers in the sky. These are all typical expressions for totally non-existent items. You know, how can you think of flowers in the sky? Flowers don't appear in the sky at all. It's just or the Vandhyaputra person, a barren woman conceiving a child and all that. So they say it's not like that, but it is more. It is a Vyavaharik reality at the level of Vyavahara. They don't completely say alik or totally non-existent thing. That kind of little concession also they give. But generally, one basic idea is they are all this Brahman or one consciousness only, and then there is. But Gaudapada goes one step further. He says, you are that Turiya. You are that. In you, the consciousness, all that appears, disappears, created, everything is happening in you, the consciousness. And that is the one reality. So this is what these are all some of the ideas. But essentially, all these in the Mahavakyas also, it's clearly when he said that, Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. You are that reality. Nothing apart from you are that, and that's the only reality. Not only that, they say, if you examine clearly, this is very perceptible that the deeper you go, more and more it becomes clearer that this is the one and only truth. So coming back to the idea of this Baddha or the bondage. So how does he say that it is? Then if you are questioned, what is the bondage? What is your bondage? Oh, this body is a terrible bondage. Oh, have you not seen the body as a child, as someone going to school, and then growing up at the next stage as a young person, and then further as a more mature person, and then further, then old age, then everything? Are you not witness to all that? Are you bound by that? Neither are you bound, nor is body bound by you. It keeps on going in its own way. Oh, I am suffering terrible pain. Don't worry, it will go away. So everything is like that. There is nothing, ultimately you will find that we have all been witness to all these kinds of the changes in the body, etc., etc. They are not that we don't see that. We constantly observe. Only thing is, we somehow identify we are that and we suffer. But if you retain that idea of witness, which is the reality, you yourself clearly see this is the body, this is nature. You are constantly witnessing. All these have happened right in front of you. That you are a school going boy and then this. But you, the witness, is constant. There is no change in you, the witness. Was you as awareness as a boy, was it different from you, the awareness as a youth? No. The you, the awareness, the witness was constant. It was always changed. The body has changed. It was young, it went into youthhood, then it became middle age, then it is old age, now it's tottering, and it may go and this and that, everything constantly. So at the level of the body, really the body does not bind you, nor can you bind the body. It goes in its own way. But supposing you mix up these two, then becomes the bondage. Instead of being a witness, which is what has happened really, that is the reality. You are a witness. Why? Because you have been helplessly watching. Can you prevent yourself from growing? If it is there, nobody would go beyond 20 or 21. Or would like to be there permanently only. But आप देखते देखते तो बुढ़ापन आ जाता है. Nobody can stop it. So only you have to rely on old photographs, old videos. देखो देखो मैं कैसा था, अरे अभी देखो क्या है. We can't even see ourselves in the mirror. So absolutely, you have been just a witness. You have been helplessly watching the various stages of the body. And yet you think you are the body. See, what is a tragedy. That is not true at all. You have been that witness. In your childhood, you are that same witness. In your youth, you are the same witness. In your old age also, there is no change in that witnesshood. Change is only in the body. So physically, there is nothing. Similarly, if you see the world outside everywhere also, whatever changes happen, it's all happening beyond you. You have nothing to say about it. So this is at the level of the body, you see. And at the level of the mind, it's even more clear. There is no bondage. So wonderful dream. You like to be dreaming forever, but you have to wake up and then the whole dream goes. Arey, itna sundar dream tha. Had it continued for 5 more days, uninterrupted, how nice would have been. Would it happen? No. Whenever the sleep is broken, gone, dream also gone, gone forever. Similarly, the sorrows, I am so sorrowful, so sad, and like this, like that, endlessly, goes away. The moment you sleep, whole day you wept because somebody had died. You sleep, where is the sorrow? Gone completely. Again, next day when I get up, it may be there. Even during the day also, the intensity or the feeling of sorrow is not constant. It keeps going, it keeps coming. It is not, there are variations in that intensity during the day also. So that means what? All these are all unreal. They have no permanency, they have no stability. Anityatva. In fact, 2 ideas we constantly uses in the Mandukya. Drishyatva and Anityatva. Whatever you see as an object is unreal because it will be subject to change, because it depends upon the subject. Whatever is the object is always dependent upon the subject. I may say, Goyal Sahab, bahut buddha ho gaye. Somebody say, someone elder to no, arey kya hai, wo to bachcha hai, mera 90 hai, unka to 80 hai. So, it depends upon you, the witness, according to your perception. There is no intrinsic reality. So, in the mind, whatever happens, it goes away even more clearly, you can see it going away. So, many of the schools, they don't accept that anything is beyond that. As far as Advaita is concerned, it doesn't even accept mind. What about the contents of the mind? Because according to Advaita, even mind is something which is assumed. It is not there for reality. So all those things are all only assumed. There is nothing really like that. So where is that bondage? Why do you say you are bound? Where is the bondage for you? It's only you are assuming. If you examine it very closely, you the witness witnessed so many things. You the witness saw the body going through so many metamorphoses, changes, growing, decaying and so on and so forth. Similarly, you the witness saw whatever is happening in the mind, the sukha and dukkha, oh my daughter is getting married, so much is said, no, there is a fight between husband and wife with the dukkha. So, all that, you are just, see, they give a beautiful example, say like the blue sky. You see, it's a very nice, wonderful blue, clear sky. And then, suddenly there is a huge, there is any number of clouds coming. And then suddenly, everything disappears also. But the sky is absolutely unaffected. But when you know the real nature, that blueness is, there is no actual color there, you will continue to see. For example, in the case of this typical analogy of rope and snake, the snake goes away forever. But in the case of the other examples given in Advaita, like mirage, you see water, then later on you find, go near, you're very thirsty, then you find it's only sand, it's a reflection and you are seeing water. So you keep on. But if you keep on going in the desert, any number of times again and again you will see water. But now that you have realized the truth, you will no longer be affected by it. You know it is false that is happening. Similarly, in the sky also, the blueness, you know that it's not is real, but then you will see that. So similarly, when you understand your real nature, the creation does not simply go away like snake on a rope, but it will be there, but your awareness, but it's all happening only in awareness. It's not, there is no separate entity or there is no reality behind it. That knowledge should be very clear and permanent in you. I think it has been a very, very heavy subject. So please have a 15 minutes break.